this is Amara's Gray, where I talk everything teaching, personal development, as well as creativity. Today we're going to get into how to motivate, encourage, and make your children or students more confident in the classroom and in the real world. So let's get into it. My first tip is to actually get to know your students, get to know your children. So that's understanding their hobbies, their creatives, their cadence in their voice, their handwriting, what makes them smile, their own quirks, their uniqueness. Like, know your children and pupils, and trust me, it not only makes the environment more beautiful, more harmonious, more welcoming and positive, but it encourages them to learn too. I believe that when you are closer to someone, or when you've got a relationship with someone, it's easier to listen to them, respond to them better, and in fact you're more likely to take in their information and opinion because they value you, therefore you value them, therefore they value you. So it's that reciprocation. If you want the children or students to learn and be positive and be enthusiastic, you got to be enthusiastic about them as well. So don't discredit that. Get to know your students or children. So simple things like their favorite movie, their favorite color, their best friend in the classroom, their fears, their worries. Like, know them. Know your students, know your children. This tip is very, very important. So set realistic performance goals or adapt goals to fit your child or pupil or student. Be appropriate. Like, don't set them goals where it'll be hard for them to obtain or difficult for them to even make 1 inch of progress. So be realistic, be understanding, but also be open to adapt the goals as well. So there might be children where, in fact, maybe the goal is too small and you're underestimating them. So be open to moving the goalpost and challenge and motivate your children in the most appropriate way where they can make progress. Have good relationships with the parents or carers, because not only this will inspire the child to be disciplined, motivated, and principled in the classroom, but in fact it will hopefully, and I believe it does, encourage them to carry on that great behaviour at home as well. So it's good to model that good relationship, so at least that when they come into class they can see it and they're aware that, you know, the teacher's not the enemy, the teacher and the parent or carer is in cahoots. They've got a good thing going on and their best interest is the child. So the child or student. So definitely cultivate those relationships. Even if it's tricky, start small. Like, it's not as simple, how's your day? How's it going? How you find the homework? Is there anything you would like me to talk about? Or, you know, the best way is to talk about the child. Like, if you're worried about developing a relationship with the parent, you could talk about the child's progress, achievements, worries even. It's best you talk about it and discuss, then wait until the issue builds up and now the parent or carer can feel blindsided. So definitely communication is important. There's so much ways you can involve the parents with the child or students learning. So that is literally making positive phone calls home, postcards, directly handing it to the parent. I do that as well. Getting them involved in newsletters, invite them into the classroom. So for example, I can't remember how long ago, I think now 2 weeks ago, we had a year 1 booklet and one of the parents wasn't able to attend because they had work or something like that. And I said, you're more than welcome to come into the classroom and have a look. So myself and the pupil, we got her books ready. So by the time that it was home time, it was all laid out. I kept the door open, obviously, and I had a TA in the room. So it was very welcoming and warm, and it was nice for the parents actually come in and see the child's learning environment. And it kind of humanized it as well, because sometimes schools, members of authority can have like a disconnect between themselves as well as a parent or carer. So it's nice to sometimes blur it or blend it and highlight the humanness to both people, to both parties. Do not forget to give constructive criticism. So don't just give targets where the child or the student is confused on what to do, or they might simply ignore it. Give them constructive criticism where they can apply it directly in that moment. So it should be applied straight away if possible. Give praise as well. So what I always do is when I'm going around, butterflying around the room, I recognize what's good about their work, and then I say, oh, this will be even better if you do this, or you can do this. And they might say, miss, I'm not too sure, and I'll show them how to do it, or give them an example. So give positive praise. Also have models around that display good work. So on my phonics board, I've got all the homework laid out for them to see. That's how I want them to do the phonics work in the classroom as well. Have appropriate student-centered learning or children-centered learning. So keep the children or students engaged in the lessons. Don't be that teacher that's constantly talking, going on and on and on, and a child or student cannot get a word in. Involve them. So for example, if you're doing an English lesson and you need them to spot the difference or spot the mistake, allow a child or student to come up and circle it, or get them to finish a working night in maths or whatever subject it is. Get them involved. Like I do this pretty often because I work with year ones, so there's a lot of like chorus rehearsal learning, so we might repeat things together, but I'll allow the children to do the answers on their Chromebooks, and then they turn around and show me. So it's engaging, it's interactive, but also it's AFL too. So the more you involve and engage your children or students, the better the learning is for them, and then they can actually apply the learning straight away, and you can address misconceptions. Make learning relatable and fun. Like bring in your personal life, now appropriate parts of your personal life. So for example, in English, when we've been learning about adjectives, bossy verbs, instructions, story writing. So sometimes I'll use my dog Shaka as an example. Like I'll talk about Shaka and describe him. They've seen a picture of him. So when I mention him and I describe him, it humanizes the task, and also it gives them an idea, like a direct idea that makes sense, is concrete, because they would have seen a dog or known a dog. So it's not hard for them to imagine or describe something, if that makes sense. Like give them a picture, give them a scene. Don't just be talking at them with information. Like give visuals, give stories, anecdotes. As long as it's appropriate to your year group, then it's fine. Embody your values. In other words, model. So that's literally expectations. In my classroom, I have a class charter, and I decided to use stars instead. So I've got all the messages on the stars. For example, like we are reflective, we are kind, we're respectful, we're principled, we're honest, we're intelligent, that sort of thing. Like, and I have one where it's like, in my classroom, we talk of respect, we are kind, we keep our hands to feed ourselves, so on, so on, so on. But also you need to reflect this too. So if you want your class and children to be kind to each other, be kind. That doesn't mean be a pushover and be not firm, but be kind. Like, compliment your children. That's great work. Oh, I love how you've done this. This is excellent. Super well done. Super proud of you. Like, give them that positive praise and recognize their greatness. And trust me, they'll be more inclined and excited to learn as well. Don't just criticize, recognize their greatness. All the teachers I remember that have been amazing and that have inspired me are the ones that highlighted positives first, and then they gave me the constructive criticism, and it built my confidence. But also it made me feel warm inside. I understand that autonomy and responsibility is key. Give children or students ownership of their learning. Now, this is not me saying that they should come up and teach the lesson, no, but give them options, give them ideas. So for example, if you've got like early morning work and you want them to write a story, give them maybe 4 pictures, and they can decide what picture they want to write about. In my classroom, I've got like word mats, adjective mats, number lines, that all those sort of things where it's like, if I'm teaching a lesson or we're doing independent learning, they can go up and get a mat and choose which word that they like. My class, they love the word aesthetic. I've used that so many times, so they look for the happy word mat and use that word, knowing this is going to improve their spelling. But it gives them that sense of confidence, like, oh, I have an idea. I don't miss it. I don't want Mrs. One. I want to do my own thing, and I think it's great for them to develop their own confidence, but also have that responsibility over their learning. You are increasing their motivation, but most importantly, you're improving their critical thinking skills as well as problem solving skills. Because by you giving them that agency over their learning, they're able to see what works, what doesn't work, what might need to be adapted, how they can make it better as well. So have resources that can challenge all students and all pupils in the classroom. Hi, this was Amaris Gray. I hope you have enjoyed this video. Do check out my other videos on teaching and personal development, as well as my creative endeavors.